What's up guys, my name is Splattercat and I'm here today representing Pixabyte to take an Alpha Watch preview look at Space Nomads, a game that's currently in very early development by Loading Studios, which is a sandbox survival tower defense kind of hybrid of just all kinds of genres, and it's a really interesting title, so I figured today we take a look at it and we talk about how the game functions and see if we can get ourselves into a little bit of trouble in the process. So here, you'll see that I've taken my time and I've set up my very basic base structure. Now, why do I need a base? Well, this thing right here in the center, this big pod, apparently we landed on the planet with this pod. I don't really know the storyline as of yet, but it's already pretty beat up. You'll see that I'm not so good at this game, but if you look at my little scanner right there, it says it has 62% strength. That's because I let it get beat on like an idiot for a little while, but the point of the game, as of right now, is to defend this node. Now, this thing allows me to craft more guns, it allows me to craft walls, it allows me to craft weapons, it allows me to craft further energy sources for the turret guns, and it's done through this interface right here. We go to E and we can craft stuff. I've already taken the liberty and made an SMG, and we can make different types of laser cannons and so forth. Now, at the moment, the game is pretty limited on what you can craft. However, it's very early on in the game's development, and so I think in the long run there's probably going to be a lot more things to take a look at. Now, what is the point of this game? Well, we got to get defenses set up, which I've already put in a basic perimeter, but for right now it's daytime, which means the monsters are more or less dormant. Once we get to the nighttime phase of the game, these little guys right here, while they look adorable, will start showing up and just making a nuisance out of themselves. The game's graphical style is pretty sweet, actually. I really like the stark, very minimalist sort of flashback look that the game has going, where it uses a lot of solid colored pixels. Things like that I think make the game very attractive, actually, and make it stand out from a horde of other sandbox clones and things of that nature. Now, during the daytime, we can find these little piles of nodes right here, and just by scanning them with our left click with this scanner equipped, we can just run in and grab them. At the top right corner of the screen, you'll see that there are three numbers, 1, 2, and 3, and next to those, there is a larger number, 69 and 37, now 71 and 37. Those are the amount of resources you have, and they haven't named them just yet. It's just resource 1, 2, and 3, and I call them level 1, level 2, and level 3, just to keep them straight. Level 1 is your most basic resource. It's used to construct the blocks that are surrounding my base right now, as well as some of the basic towers and some of the basic guns that you can craft. The gray is level 2, and at the moment is used to craft yourself an SMG, and the 3 is the level 3 resources, which at the moment are only used to create a Gatling gun for yourself. Blocks can be placed by holding the scanner, holding down the right key on your mouse, and then pressing the left click, and so there you go, you end up with a little block. Now, all of these guns do require a power source, and we'll get back to that in just a second. There's going to be plenty of time to discuss that once we get to nighttime. You can see that the sun is, I can't tell if it's going up in this direction or if it's coming down in this direction. In either case, daytime is when we need to get most of our work done. Nighttime, there are going to be floods of those bugs around, and we just want to be prepared for them. There is a way to combine your resources, so I can turn level 1 resources into level 2, and level 2 into level 3, and even level 1 into level 3, and vice versa. So you can transmute basically all the resources into the resources of the levels that you need. It may just cost you more or less depending. So at the moment, let's run around and get some scanning done. Now, there are plans in the development of this game. Oh, and there's little critters spawning. Let me take care of them with just blazing laser steel, and we'll blast them out, and down they go. And so we've handled that issue appropriately. Let's continue looking for resources, because I feel like we're going to need a bit more each night that goes by. So as I was saying, I broke off there mid-sentence, which does tend to happen when I'm attacked by bloodthirsty space bugs. But there are plans to make multiple game modes. Right now, the only one that's been implemented is this sandbox survival mode, where you're going to face off against wave of little aliens, or wave after wave of little aliens. But there are plans in the future to put in a free roam sandbox crafting mode, so you can build yourself like an entire complex and things of that nature, and a sort of adventure mode, and so you can't step away from the sandbox gameplay if that's something that you're not into. For me personally, I feel like the game draws together multiple aspects to actually make a pretty engaging tower defense game. Now, normally I write off tower defense games, and I'll explain to you why. I know that there's people out there that are staunch defenders of the tower defense genre, because it's all about management and knowing when to upgrade things and so forth. But the thing that I've always felt has been the weakness of the tower defense genre is that things follow a set path, and as they go, you have to decide which corners to guard, you have to decide which kind of grids or hexes you need to reinforce and build on first, which ones can be built on last, which ones have have the best extended reach for certain weapons and things of that nature, and I've always found that pathing is the weakness. Now in this game, you've got 360 degrees of movement, and why won't you let me shoot you? Why won't you die, little bug guy? I'm going to name you Harold. Unfortunately, Harold has gone on to a terrible laser-filled death, or maybe a pleasant one, I don't know. Maybe you get euphoric when you get blasted with a laser, I wouldn't know. But anyways, as I was saying, the 360 degree range of movement I think helps this game out. Oh, and that one just got blasted by my turrets. We'll let him, I'll show you how these things work. You actually get a cool disintegration effect when they get blasted by the turrets, which makes me actually like watching my turrets blast things a lot more than I like shooting them myself. But as I was saying, with the 360 degree range of movement, you end up feeling much more panicked and much more rushed. The beasties can come from almost any direction in that situation, and they seem to do a pretty good job of lining up in each of the 4 quadrants, north, south, east, and west, that you're going to have to be defending from. Now, I would like to see a little bit of creativity added to the AI, where it will actually have scouts that if they get to a certain range with your base, they'll find weak points, things of that nature. But the game is in incredibly early development, and so right now, the sky is the limit for the game. It actually is not available for play just yet. You can check it out on IndieDB if you're interested in the aspects you want to watch the development come across. The developers also have a Twitter feed, and they've also got a Facebook setup that are all rather nice. I received this copy courtesy of their press corps, so that's very cool of them to send this over so that Pixabay could give you a look at it here today. And there's some level 2 resources here. I very much want these because I've never got to deploy a Gatling gun yet, and by the end of this playthrough I am going to deploy a Gatling gun and we will use it to the best effect that we can. Now we're on the second half of our day. At the moment, the only way to tell what time it is that I've noticed thus far is by taking a look at the sun and seeing what its position is in the sky. It rises in the east and sets in the west, just like you would expect. And these bugs do pop out from time to time. They become more common during the daytime as you go along, but for now we're just going to blast them as they come. I think I'm going to use the remainder of our time, now that we've got a nice little stack of resources, to see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves in back at the base. You do want to periodically take a look at your base and make sure it's not being assailed. Occasionally bugs pop up during the day and attack it, but I haven't seen enough of them yet to actually worry about it. For the most part, it's just little stragglers, those little blue guys. Now, there are multiple types of bugs that I've seen so far, from tanky, nasty ones that can't be destroyed very easily to the little grist-of-the-mill foot soldier type critters. And as time goes along, I would assume they'll put in flying mobs because you can stack these bricks as high as you would like to. I've actually seen some pretty impressive base structures that people have built online. Now let's take a look around. This is a level 2 cannon. You can tell because it has 2 barrels. You can place them rather easily, and we'll go over that in just a moment. These are level 1 cannons. I'll probably upgrade these in a moment. Once you've placed them, they're not permanent. At any time, you could walk up, grab them, replace them, move them around, rotate them, and change them at will. I like that very much too. I don't like being confined to kind of a singular strategy throughout the course of the game, so if you need to redouble your efforts on a different front, you can do that in a, albeit it is available, but it is in very much a panicked sense, as I've noticed. Let's get ourselves some other things built. So if we mouse over one of these guys or we aim our little scanner at it, it'll say how much energy we have. Actually, I think I got to go to this capacitor right here. There we go. So 6 of our 8 energy usage is being consumed at the moment. And so let's make ourselves a couple more capacitors. So we'll come over to this little panel here. It opens up. We'll click on the capacitor and we'll say create and pick up so that we don't have to pick it up ourselves. And there it is. And we'll just drag it over to its new home, which I think is going to be, well, let's place some blocks first. And so we'll put in some new blocks. There we go. So that it looks nice and organized. Because I am a stickler for, I'm OCD about things looking nice. I do the same thing in Minecraft. Everything has to be lined up nicely. Otherwise, I just start getting this weird eye twitch, and I just can't stand it. We got all the resources back when we canceled the building, so we don't have to worry about that. But we'll put in a second cap right there. So we have 2 capacitors ready to roll, and you'll see here that you get a little bit of a diminishing return on them. We only got 3 energy out of it that time, so it's 6 out of 11 now. I think what I'll do is I'm actually going to, I think this over here is the least reinforced, so we'll put a level 2 over here for our turrets. We'll take a level 2 cannon there. Oh, the level 4 laser cannon, or the 4 laser cannon uses the level 2 as well, so that was wrong of me to say that nothing else used level 2s. Mines use level 1 as well. I haven't placed any mines, so we'll probably do that in just a minute too, because mines sound pretty sweet. But for now, let's get our level 2 Gatling gun in, and then we'll play around with our minefield. And so let's rotate that. We can rotate it with the mouse wheel. It's very simple to do. And so now we've got a level 2 in place right there. How much did that use? It actually used only one. Okay, so it only uses one energy per turret as far as I can tell. We're looking a little skimp on this front as well. So let's scoot this guy over just a smidge. Oh, we'll need to rotate him too. There we go. So he's been scooted over a smidgen, a tiny bit, an iota. And let's go back and we will grab a... You know what? I really, really, really want a Gatling gun. So what we'll do is we'll click the refinery button right here and we'll have our input. So our input is level 1. And can we put in anything else? No. And so we'll put in level 2s to see what we can get out. So that's going to give us, how many do we need actually? Let's close this down real fast. You'll see that night is falling all around us. We need 15. I don't think we're going to have enough, but we're going to try because a Gatling gun sounds super badass. And so we're trying to get level 3s out. What we'll do is we'll trade in as much as we can to get 15. There we go. And so we'll refine some level 3s. I've never found a level 3 resource node in the field yet. And I don't even know if they're available or if you always have to convert. Now at night there is some noticeable slowdown. I don't know if that's because the game is calculating the pathfinding for the mobs. Oh, that's going to be amazing. We're actually just going to let the carnage unfold right here and just kind of see what happens. You can help with your defense, so it does call upon similar games like Sanctum, but once again in Sanctum the enemies focus, yeah, that's what I like to see. In Sanctum the enemies focus on your... Well, they follow the path, just like I said, which has always been the weakness. And so that Gatling gun is looking like an amazing investment. The turrets don't have ammo or anything like that needs to be restored. Additionally, at night, if you try and go harvest resources, you spawn even more mobs. So at times, it can be worth it to go out, scout, and see if you can get some more resources, but you'll see what I mean right here. Let's run out and try it out, just to give you the little example here. And so the moment we start harvesting this at night, you'll hear a crunchy noise, and there he is. You actually spawn more bugs that are going to come right at you, so you can make yourself a bigger mess than you initially had. I apologize for any frame rate slowdown. It's actually from the engine. Nighttime, I don't know if it's from the shadows or from the pathfinding. Like I said, nighttime you get a little bit of slowdown. It's nothing that can't be played through, but you will see a drop from, say, like 200 frames per second to like 20 occasionally. And so I've left a little space for a door right here. And I think what I'll start doing while the bugs are coming is we'll start building this up a little bit higher maybe. Can I do that? Oh, at night it's actually built off. Oh, I don't have the ability to place blocks at night, so I never noticed that until now. And I always learn something when I make these videos. These guys are looking like they might break through, so I'm going to put some rounds on these gents. I wonder if we can place actual towers right now. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Will it let me craft a tower at the moment? Let's try a level 4 cannon. Can we do it? Yeah, yes we can. We can go all Bob the Builder on this. And so there's that right there. I think this spot could benefit actually from some reinforcement with that regard. And then what we'll do is we'll grab this guy and we'll cancel him. And then we'll move you over to right there. And that's going to give us a nice little... There we go. That's going to give us... Alright, it's facing me. No, wrong direction. We'll spin you around here. There we go. And so now we are nice and golden. And so that should allow us to keep ourselves squared away. And where else are they going to be coming from? I don't see any advancing hordes at the moment. Are they just over the... Are they over the hill right here? Let's see. I am getting some slowdown, so that usually means they're about to spawn. And there they are. They're on top of that hill over there. And so once we resolve the... Oh, there's flyers now too. That's going to create an interesting problem for us. So we got weird little dragon critters that are dropping in on us now. And so, as I had thought, flying critters would be a great way to shake up the gameplay a tad. And so the devs appear to be Johnny on the spot. They're thinking the same way that I am. And so while our defenses hold those down, I'm going to see if I can get myself on top of the capacitor here, or on top of our refinery. It's got a nice little animation here on the top, like a strange little jet sphincter, but I like the way that everything is animated in this game. Everything moves around, there's lots of clicks and beeps and whirs as you build things. I think the game is headed for some pretty interesting ways. If they put in an adventure mode similar to Minecraft where I can wander around, find rare resources to make ridiculous BFGs, bazookas, and so forth, I think the game could occupy me for quite some time on release. For now, the game actually does pretty well as a tower defense game, albeit with limited options. God, there's more of them coming. It's got limited options for tower selection at the moment, but obviously that's going to be cleared up in the future. Now, are those attacking my tower? Is that hurting my little guns here? No, he hasn't been hit just yet, but I thought he was swooping for my tower as I was looking. The cannons look like they're holding it down on this front. The AI seems to have gotten stuck on that rock. Well done, rock. Well done. Continue to rock on and hold them in place. Even the rocks are on our side here, but from every angle, I feel like the game is in a good position for a fruitful future. And so I hope that they stay true to this art design. First and foremost, the thing that I like most about this game is the art design. I love how the game uses singular frames and it keeps them all solid colors. There's not a lot of shading. It gives it a nice little cell shaded type look. And although I know this isn't really cell shading, it reminds me of old games from the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo like Flashback, where they didn't really have the technology to create super advanced shading. They just left everything in solid colors, and I like that. It makes me feel very reminiscent. It makes me feel nostalgic, and I hope they stick with that. The sound effects and the soundtrack are actually pretty good as well. The soundtrack shifts depending on what you're being attacked by, and it does get more frantic. Oh God, what is happening? I hear the sound of things, and I see sparks flying everywhere. Oh, yeah, they're taking pot shots at my towers, and they've actually killed some of them. And so those are going to be, I guess, what the player's probably going to focus on. It looks like a weird little Pokemon. And so we lost a tower there. Oh, those are sucking on my generator, interestingly enough. How much damage did those do? Not much, but there's some kind of little ticks or something that sit and attack the refinery in general, and so the enemy variety is pretty impressive as well. This is sort of a first look for me because I haven't gotten a chance to play a ton of the game, so as they're popping out, I'm learning things here too. Let's go ahead and get ourselves situated. They destroyed our level 2 tower, I think, which was completely ungentlemanly of them, but we'll make ourselves another level 2 tower here, and then we're going to put it right back where it was because they can't contain us or discourage us. They will continue to face hot, fiery laser fire from our position as far as I am still standing, and I apologize. Sometimes the cursor still pops up and you've got to pause the game and unpause it to get the cursor to go away. There may be a key or something that causes that to go away, but I don't know it just yet. But this is pretty much what you do in the game right now. Believe me, it gets much, much worse. You can end up with dozens upon dozens of enemies on the screen. I have seen other people's gameplays in which really it seems pretty stacked in your enemy's favor. I don't think survival is entirely an option in this game. Let's get rid of that guy before he destroys my other level 2. They are showing some ability to distinguish between what towers they're attacking. That's pretty impressive. Oh, and there's more of these little rhinoceros beetles messing with our power supply, so we'll blast them. And did that actually do anything? It looks like it did. I can't remember what my original number was. I get kind of sidetracked. I don't have a very good memory in the first place, so as the sun comes up, the attacks will end, and you'll continue forward, gathering resources and trying to help yourself survive. So, my name is Splattercat. I hope you got a pretty good feel for the way gameplay is working in the game right now, or at least you've been able to put it on your radar for the future if it didn't look interesting as of yet. My name is Splattercat. I'm here with Pixabyte, taking a look at Space Nomads by Loading Software, and so I hope you'll check the game out and give it your support, give it your love, at least give it your kudos over on IndieDB and so forth. All the information will be down below. At the moment, I don't think it's available actually for play. It's in a pretty primitive form, but it is playable in this state, and the fact that the devs are kind of describing it as being very primitive and it's still this playable is an impressive feat. So I hope to see you guys in the future for all the best previews, reviews, and gameplay footage. Feel free to stop by here at Pixabyte again in the future, and we'll see you then. Take care, everybody.